All right, good morning, everyone. We are live, and this is just some Sunday shenanigan. Just gonna have some fun, maybe kind of recap what we're doing on the week, maybe how we prepare for the upcoming week. And it's been a while since Kevin's been on, so if anyone doesn't know who he is, he's self storage venture on X, and he does self storage facilities, and he's also a firefighter. So, good morning, fellas.
Morning, man.
Morning.
Yeah, so Kevin, maybe quickly, since it's been a while, maybe give a quick recap of what you invest in and where's most of your self storage facilities at.
Yeah. I actually started real estate prior to the fire service. So we started back in like '08. Single family homes, multifamily. Did that for a while. And then as of 2023, we bought our first self storage facility. And then we've just kind of been focusing on that, probably given that 90% of our time. So we have facilities in North Dakota, Kentucky, South Carolina, and North Carolina right now.
Cool. Hold on. I'm trying to test something out. We're live on Instagram, but last time somebody said they couldn't hear me on Instagram, so I don't know how to. Well, I'll play around with that. But Curtis, so it looks like you've been doing a lot of networking and going to events and everything. So maybe fill everyone, like give a recap on what you've been working on.
Yeah. So my goals go to at least one event per week, and sometimes the events line up on the same week. So I go to all sorts of networking. I say if it's within like a 30-minute drive, I'll try to make it. Um, it looks like Flavio's in Grandview, Washington. Hopefully, him and I can meet up at some point. Um, but yeah, and then I recently went and saw Kent's place. He just bought a triplex. Kind of was talking to him throughout the whole like process. It's about 35 minutes away from where I'm at, so I drove out there. We toured it. The full interview and tour is on my channel. But he's gonna get to live for free, which is awesome.
So I just put your channel link in the chat, and yeah, I forgot about that. You just did a cool video. I forget you and Ray kind of helped him because he's in the Tacoma Fire, right, Ken?
Yeah,
And then you're able to use Ray's cool equipment and make a real
exactly.
professional video. Okay, so yeah, so go check it out, everyone. Go subscribe. That was cool. And then Kevin's been seeing how much fun we've been having on the lives, and he was kind of talking smack to me on X, saying it's been a while and he hasn't been on. So, but he
Yeah,
always
man,
gives me
you forgot about me.
no.
You
Every
forgot
time
about
I
me.
invite you on, you tell me, "Oh, I got this firefighting stuff I got to do. I got to actually work." So
I've been
try
off. I've been off work for like a month and a half, man. I
what?
I, I got pneumonia.
Ooh.
Oh.
I got
eh,
pneumonia, and then I got a secondary lung infection, and I was in the hospital for a day. It sucked.
So are you so you might as well just retire, man.
Right? I'm getting I'm getting a little bit of that retirement life. I go back next week though. So,
Well, see, I'm actually out right now. I got a MRI coming up for my shoulder, so
uh,
I finally got it scheduled. So it's gonna be like I gotta wait a couple weeks. So I'm actually heading out to North Carolina tomorrow night, last minute.
oh,
So
nice.
yeah, and it just so happens, I don't know if you guys remember Lauren Elaine. She's actually gonna be in Asheville also, so she's gonna be looking at a self-storage facility while she's there.
Oh, okay.
So I'm probably gonna meet up with her. Sierra's gonna probably come from Tennessee, and we'll probably gonna hang out. But that should be fun.
Nice.
Yeah. So just want to say good morning to everyone tuning in. We got Hyder here as usual. Thanks for always supporting. We got Ike Hobbs. He's a firefighter also. Flavio's here, like Curtis said. He's in Grandview area. I don't know. Do you know him, Curtis? I know Ray knows him. He said.
I don't think so. No.
Okay. Yeah, Ray said he's trying to get him into the maybe ORAC community and Tacoma Fi
Nice.
and things, but Big Val's here, so I might meet up with Val too. He's more towards Winston Salem side, so I might meet him up there, North Carolina. Kind of want to stay away from the Raleigh area March Madness time, so I might head up that way. And then yeah, oh, Darla's here. Not sure. Aloha, Darla. I haven't seen you here before, but please subscribe and check out Curtis's channel also. But yeah, Kevin. So what you been up to? It's been a while, man.
Oh man. Well, my son turned 5 a couple days ago, so we had doing all the birthday stuff. That's been fun. Um, like I said, off work for about a month and a half, and just kind of the sickness kind of wiped me out. I got lucky. I I had hired an operations manager for a self-storage portfolio like a week before I got sick. And then I got sick and I was just like, all right, you're running it, because I was in bed. I was done. And she did a great job. So she's done awesome for us. So that's been a pretty big hire on our end, and it's been super helpful to kind of free up some of my time. Um, and yeah, that's where we're at now. Just managing the existing ones that we have. Nothing. We have one deal in the pipeline, but we'll see what happens with that. Might have to cancel that one, but yeah, that's about it.
I did see you post something on X recently about maybe like a lot you folks have, or you have a facility
Oh,
on there with extra space, maybe.
yeah. So we're focusing on expansions at our current facilities, as opposed to acquiring new ones. Um, just because it's just an easy play. We have a lot of room to expand at a number of the facilities. So what we've done is we've just kind of slowly increased rates to see where move outs turn out to be. And, there's a few sites where people just don't move out, even though we increase the rates and kind of push the envelope a little bit. So for those sites, we want to expand and get more people in. There's obviously demand there. And so we're looking
Were you
to.
joking about bedroom and bath, or what did you put on there? Something about offering
No,
half
that
bath.
so we're looking at, because we have traditional drive up, right? Like you drive up to the facility, park your truck, throw your stuff in your unit, and you drive away. We're looking at more like contractor garages on some of these expansions, so larger warehouse spaces that have like a half bathroom. So that way, you're not going to live in there, but you can spend the day in there working. Hopefully, you
Hey,
don't live in there.
I could live in there.
Yeah,
Curtis would live in there. Curtis definitely would. So
per
I
the
don't.
lease, you can't live in there.
He'll figure out a way.
Yeah. We've had people live in our self storage units, just drive up self storage units.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Don't tempt Curtis. He's gonna look into it now. So
Yeah.
I don't know. So yeah, if you haven't heard Curtis's story, Kevin, his first house hack, he basically boarded up or put up a wall to separate the rooms, and he didn't have a full bath. I mean, he had a toilet, but he didn't have a shower in there, so he would shower at the gym and the mom's house. So that's how he did his first house hack, and now
That's
he's doing a
awesome.
second one. Yeah, so cool story.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Oh, got Andy here. Thanks for stopping by, Andy. Andy's possibly working on a deal. So the school community is working out. People are connecting and sending each other deals. So that's always cool. But yeah. So I don't know, Curtis, has self storage ever crossed your mind? Is there a lot of self storage in your area?
There is, just because we have like the military base, we got the port, so a lot of people are kind of in and out, and people always have a lot of stuff. So I actually had a couple of questions. Like you kept saying we, so like who all is that?
It's just my wife and I.
Oh, okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay, okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if it was you and a whole team of people or what's going on.
No. So we have a few people that work for us. But no, it's just my wife and I that own the facilities. And then I have one that I brought in an equity partner on.
Okay, and then how do you kind of fit in the this ORAC group? Because I don't really hear a whole lot of self storage on these channels.
Yeah. No, I'm a misfit. I don't fit in. Mark every once in a while just throws me a bone and lets me come on and hang out.
Okay.
No, I always invite him on, but he always gives me this, oh man. Well, he has young kids too, and he's still doing
Yeah.
the fireside. So I keep trying to joke with him that he should retire already. But he has less. He kind of got in the fire department later than me, so that's kind of why he still has that little burn or the enjoyment of it, I think. So, but I can tell that you're starting to think about it a lot more now.
Yeah, I think I've got another year and a half. It'll be 10 years, and so I feel like that's a good time. Good time to
Yeah,
go. You
like
know.
I told you, I think 10 years is that point where a lot of people, it's that make or break point. Once you hit 10, then you start you start looking at it differently. Whether it's like I'm going to
Yeah.
go full speed ahead, overtime, promotions, and the other side's like, okay, 10 years has been a great run, and how am I going to exit out or
Yeah.
what's my retirement if I get out in 15 years, or what's my retirement if I get out in 12, or what's. I think you just start looking at it differently. So I don't know. Are you guys how's your guys contract? Are you guys up for because we're our contract's coming up this summer for our new one. And who was I talking to recently? Brett. I don't know if folks know Brett. He's in Wisconsin or Milwaukee, but he said they've been working without a contract for like 4 years already.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, we ours expires this year, so we'll have to have a new one in place by November. It was a 4-year contract last time that it was not a good contract for us. So we're hoping this year, we can negotiate at least a 2 or 3 year good contract.
Are you guys any talks of like hazard pay for COVID work for you guys?
No.
No, really? Yeah, we're possibly getting like a lump sum payment for
Is
hazard
that
pay.
from the feds? Is that a federal thing or state thing?
I thought it was federal,
Hmm.
but yeah, I'm not sure.
Then
But
maybe I don't know. I haven't heard of it. But again,
yeah,
I've been off for almost 2 months now.
so that might actually bump a lot of guys out too.
Yeah.
Because if it's a lump sum pay and then they back it to a couple years, it might kick up their high three for those 2 years.
True.
So
Well,
they might be like,
then I think Trump was talking at one point about no tax on overtime, something like that.
yeah,
That would be
yeah,
crazy.
because we already have. So I don't know how they would factor in the automatic overtime, right? Because we're technically
Still
like
overtime.
we're a 56-hour work week, right? So I don't know how
Yeah.
that would come into play, but it would be interesting. Definitely
Yeah.
hopes. But Ike has a, or I don't, not really a question, but Ike's like I said, he's a firefighter. But he says if you're running plumbing for toilets, it seems like a stand-up shower would cost a tiny bit more, but even
Mm.
more attractive.
For the contractor garages, I'm guessing he's thinking
Yeah.
about. I think it would be, and it would be easy to add on. But then I think I'm really pushing somebody living in there, and which I don't want. There's just more
See, Curtis
liability.
is already Curtis's head is already spinning over there.
I want him there from like 9 a.m. to 5, and then I want him out.
All right, so I know it's Sunday. A lot of times we kind of, it's a day of relaxation. Like, how do you guys approach Sunday? Is it a day to relax, or are you getting primed for the week? Maybe Kevin, you can go first then.
Yeah, I mean, for us, it's usually there's something going on with the kids. Usually, I haven't relaxed in a while. This is my first relaxation right here, talking to you. But usually, there's like there's ballet, there's soccer, there's baseball, there's a swim lesson, makeup, something, or we'll try and get the family. We'll go on a walk with the family or something like that. So we try and spend it together as a family. But there's usually some sort of activity involved.
Okay, well, so yeah, so it's not so much like you're not really prepping really for Monday. Then.
I
It's
don't prep.
it's more
I don't
just
really
okay.
do much work on Sundays. Yeah.
Okay, so for you, Curtis, anything different? How do you look at Sundays or getting ready for the week?
Yeah, so kind of like the early part of the day is more like a catch up day. Okay, is there anything that I missed throughout the week or like the weekend? Normally that comes down to like having to clean around the house or something, or prepping food or things like that. Um, and then the afternoon or the part two of the day is often just kind of just look at the week. Okay, what do I got to do for work? Well, what events am I going to go to? Kind of just laying it out like that. I do get the Sunday scaries where it's like, oh God, okay, tomorrow's work day. I got to wake up at 6 o'clock again. But yeah, it's kind of a prep day and kind of like like a makeup day.
Yeah, so thanks, Go on Keola, for stopping by. He's just trying to ask if, uh, we're pretending to know things. And I said, yeah, we just, we try our best. So we're doing our best
Mhm.
out here. So thanks for stopping by.
Gotta
Um,
fake it.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think definitely everyone looks at it differently, right? Like Kevin looks at Sundays kind of a family day. Some people look at it as a prep day to get ready for the week. But yeah, I think definitely once you have kids, right, it kind of changes things, right? And it's kind of hard to really prep for the week coming up and whatnot. You're just trying to survive, and sometimes it's the only day the family can get together, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's really, but it's just figuring out how to make that time, right? Figuring out how to make that time and putting your priorities in order. And I guess, that's the number one thing, that we're always trying to get time freedom, right, through these real estate or stocks or financial freedom type mindset. But the biggest thing is getting more time for yourself, right? And that's going to make life a lot easier for us. But Kevin, I know like self storage is your thing now, right? I mean, you've
Yeah.
definitely. I mean, I know you still have some rentals, right? Single family stuff, I think.
And we do some flips. Like I'm doing a flip right now in Kansas City, Missouri. We just did a flip in Phoenix at the end of last year. So we still run kind of remote flips with some crews that we have in place. But I'd say 90% of our effort right now is self-storage.
Hey, oh, so hold on. So you're naming a lot of different states here, but like, how are you? Like, this is against the conventional thought, right? You pick a spot, you develop a team there, and then you kind of just go deep. You're kind of
Yeah.
like spraying all over the place. What's going on?
Yeah. So so I used to live in Arizona, so I'm familiar with that market. We have a team out there that, I know the contractors, I know the property managers. So for us to do a flip in either the Tucson market or the Phoenix market is very easy, because we have the team that'll do it, that'll run it for me. And same with Kansas City, Missouri. So those two areas, Arizona, Kansas City, Missouri, we have teams in place. Very easy for us. And then as far as self-storage, we remote manage everything. So it really doesn't matter where it is. We take the same playbook and we can drop it in, Michigan or North Dakota or North Carolina, anywhere. And so all these facilities are unmanned, remote operated facilities. So that's just kind of given us the ability to purchase anywhere. There's definitely areas that we prefer, but if there's a good deal somewhere, we can go after it.
Hmm.
Yeah, every time I talk to Kevin, self storage piques my interest, and like I said, like Lauren, that's where she's pivoting to. She had her
Yeah.
equestrian farm in Florida. She finally was able to sell it. That's kind of been what's been holding her up, trying to get that off her hands right now. So she finally closed on that, and now, yeah, she's looking at some facilities, and I think so. That's why she's going to be up in North Carolina to check out some things. And I don't know. I'm not.
We're in contract to sell our first facility that we bought in 2023.
Oh, where was
Yep.
that one at?
North Carolina,
Yeah, I know. So, but not in Asheville, right? Or
Wilmington area.
oh, okay, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, I'm taking my son up to see the grandparents, but at the same time, probably just gonna be driving around and just seeing what's out there. I don't know. I don't know how Asheville looks since the
I know some
hurricane.
people that own facilities in Nashville.
Oh,
Yeah.
how did the hurricane? Did the
It's a little
hurricanes?
bit lower of a median income, so I think they've had some issues with late payments. They have a little more liens, more auctions. That's typically what happens when you get to kind of some lower median income areas. But they've done well with it.
But did the hurricane affect them at all? No.
Good question. I don't know. I haven't
Uh,
talked to them since then.
So what does that look like for, you said late payments, options, but for people that don't know what that is, what is
Yeah.
that?
Yeah. So rent's due on the first of the month for, let's just for a drive up storage unit, right? 10 by 10 unit, they pay every month. If they don't pay on the first, they have a 6-day grace period. On day 7, they get hit with a late fee. So now I tack on a late fee. If if it was $100 to rent that unit, they get a $10 late fee. Then if they don't pay by the 30th, 30 days after, I can actually lien their items. So what I'll do is I'll come and I'll put my lock over their lock. Each unit has a spot for 2 locks. So I'll put my lock next to it. So even if they were to be able to try and open their unit, they wouldn't be able to. And then they get a lien fee. So I charge them a lien fee. And if they still don't pay by right around day 60, I have the ability to auction off their unit. So I'll actually cut their lock, open it up, take pictures of what's inside, and I'll run an online auction. And somebody will bid on it, pay me, come take all their stuff, and then I have a unit to rent out.
So what is that lien fee? Is it the same as like a month's rent or whatever?
It's different per state. So each state has guidelines of what you can charge for late fees, when you can charge late fees, lien fees, when you can lien it, auction fees. So, but it's typically right around like a $30 to $40 fee for a lien fee, and then an auction fee is right around $50. And so if somebody doesn't pay, all of a sudden they get the notice in the mail that it's going to auction, they have to pay their back rent plus all these fees in order to stop the auction.
Gotcha. And then what's like the highest option that you've seen?
Probably $400 or $500. We don't try, and all we really care about at that point is just getting a rent ready unit. We don't look to make a lot of money in our auctions. We don't run them for an extended period of time. They didn't pay. We just want to get a paying customer in there. So most auctions will go for somewhere between 40 and $100. And that person may owe, when you add in all their fees, $300, $400, $500. And we're going to take $40, $50. But at the end of the day, we want them out. We want a rent ready unit that we can rent to someone who's going to pay. And auctions are really only about 2% of our customers go to auction. So it's a small portion.
And you got to make sure you cut the right lock, though, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know if you heard that story. Yeah. They were painting and they mixed up the numbers on the unit.
Yeah, we repainted the facility, and the painters forget what unit it was, but like 87 and 86 got switched. And one of them was in auction status. So I sent I call him a boots on the ground, a contractor out there to go cut the lock and take pictures. So he cuts the lock, and the guy that was paying takes pictures. We put it on the auction website, and luckily we figured it out before it got cleared out, but could have been bad.
Oh, geez.
We got some people tuning in. We got Josh here. So yeah, he says Outer Banks of North Carolina is great for short-term rentals. Yeah. Dennis is stopping by. Hi, Dennis. It's been a while. Hope things are well. Jason's here. And if anyone did watch the live yesterday, I definitely recommend watching the last 30 minutes if you weren't able to catch the entire thing. But the last 30 minutes of the live yesterday was pretty entertaining. So yeah, definitely go check it out.
It took a turn.
It did. The first 60 minutes was a lot of great information, and then the last 30 was great information, but different type of information. We'll just say Cleavage for Clicks might be a YouTube channel coming out soon. But yeah, Jen is based. She's very cool. Yeah, definitely. So it sounds like a few people have signed up with her from the ORAC community already. Sounds like Jared. But yes, definitely go check her out, and yeah, go see if her services can be of use for you. Let's see. Oh, hold on. Let's see. Val has Big Val's here. He's in North Carolina. Says, what do you think about putting out buildings in the back of rentals and charge an extra for rent because everybody has a self-storage and they're trying to get out of self-storage?
So you say put a essentially like a self-storage unit in the back and charge extra rent if they want to store their things there. We've done that. We have a triplex, and then we have 3 pods in the back, and we charge extra. And if they want the pod, we rent it out to them. Just an extra form of income. We had a little bit of room in the back. All 3 units took it. I think we charge $80 a month for each one.
So if they don't take it, then are you losing?
Well, I mean, you've already bought it, so you have the sunk cost of buying it, and then it just sits there. So it just wouldn't be income generated. I wouldn't that particular one. I wouldn't rent it out to someone who didn't live there because they'd have to go through the yard to get to it. Potentially, you could rent it out to like a neighbor or something like that.
Gotcha.
I think most of the time people are going to take those, especially if it's under market rent, right? If everyone else is charging $80 for a 10 by 10, and you're like, hey, you can have this one for 50. And I think it makes it easier to rent out because some people, that's just an added benefit that other triplexes aren't offering. Oh, I get a storage unit with my triplex. It's in my backyard that I can just go access anytime I want.
Yeah, so I actually did this, although when I bought my triplex, it came with like a garage and like a storage thing, and I actually didn't charge a fee when I uh, listed the unit. However, I charged like top of the market rent because I was like, well, the lender's going to look at the rent; they're not going to look at the fee
Mhm.
for calc. So I kind of just added the fee into the rent.
Yeah, yeah, that works too. Yep. And then when you're going back to renegotiate the next lease, then you can always put in an extra fee for that.
Yeah.
You could always go back and keep that top of the market rent, and then say, but it's an additional $50 for that storage unit.
Mm-hmm.
And then the rent stays the same in theory. So
Yeah.
different ways to play it.
I know, Kevin, I know you like self-storage quite a bit because you don't have like that landlord-tenant relationship or
Yeah.
restrictions or laws and whatnot. For self-storage, is every state vary significantly also, or is it pretty straight across the board?
Not significantly. It's pretty similar. Like it might be a few days, right? One state I might be able to lien someone's item if they haven't paid in 37 days, and for another state it might be 35 days. All we do to keep things consistent, especially for our ops manager, to make it easy and not convoluted, is we take whatever the most conservative is and we just apply it to all our facilities. So if the longest time I could go with leaning someone's 37 days, even if I could lean someone on 33 days for a facility in a different state, we just put it all at 37. And that just keeps it easy for us.
Yeah, Big Andy says, yeah, about the live yesterday, maybe not watching in church. Yeah, it was a lot of fun though. Definitely, it was a lot of fun. Ray did a great job. Jen was amazing. So hopefully Jen had a lot of fun, and hopefully she'll be wanting to come on the lives a lot more. But I think she brings a lot of energy and a lot of good information. And a lot of us are doing more like the actual acquisition side or property management side of it. But Jen's more on that side of the lending or financing and finding you capital and wholesaling and finding you bringing deals to you. So I think she brings a different perspective on a lot of things. Oh, Kevin, I don't know if you ever met Joe V. I don't know if you've been on the live, but Joe V is here.
I don't think so.
He likes to talk shit about firefighters, but
Perfect.
he was a ex off Leo. I forget where he might have been a Leo in Chicago, but now he's in Wisconsin area doing property
Okay.
management and things. But I'm sure he'll say something wise pretty soon. But thanks Joe for stopping by. He'll probably bring up Trump or something pretty soon, which is fine. But yeah, I mean, I know. So, are you gonna still keep those rentals you have, or I know you've been liquidating a few now here and there, but you're gonna hold on to a few.
We'll keep the ones we have for the most part. I've got we don't have many left. We've a few in Kansas City, and then I've got a few in Tucson, one in Texas. So yeah, I think we'll keep those. They're easy enough. We sold the rest to get into self-storage. That's allowed us to get into self-storage. We've got 11 facilities now, and hopefully just keep growing that way.
So Steven, who used to live in Orlando, then he relocated to Pittsburgh to invest in Pittsburgh. So he's investing in the Pittsburgh real estate market. But Steven says, "Hey Kevin, has self-storage increased in popularity? I heard about it 2 years ago."
Yeah, it definitely has. COVID, a lot of money went into self-storage space in COVID times. A lot of tech came in, big institutions started ramping up acquisitions. So it's definitely increased, which has caused prices to obviously go up as well. There's more demand for self-storage. But we focus in more tertiary markets, like, under 30,000 population, some of our towns are under 5,000 population. And so we're not dealing with a lot of that competition that you have in some of these more like primary and secondary markets.
Is he piquing your interest, Curtis?
Well, I've heard of self-storage. It's kind of big over here. I even know some folks that have combined like self-storage and like RV parks kind of together.
Yeah.
So
Just let you know the pressure's on, Curtis. Dion's tuning in. He's listening to you.
Dion's here. Yeah. Well, I think self-storage would be interesting for Dion. It seems kind of perfectly like lazy. Because you don't have to be there. There's no tenants. There's no toilets to fix. But no, self-storage is very interesting. I'm trying to get good at one thing first before
Yeah.
I go to a new thing, especially being so new. I think when you try to hop to multiple things, that's where you can get into like trouble, like the
Yeah.
jack of all trades but master of none type of deal.
Yeah. And I'm a little different just because I started this in 2008, right? So I've had whatever it's been, 15 years. And I started in single family, multifamily. And then once I felt like I learned that, right, I went to a different asset class. So I agree. I think if you're just kind of following the shiny object, sometimes you can accomplish nothing.
Steven says, thanks, Kevin. If you ever decide to sell, would you sell to a big company like Public Storage?
They probably wouldn't want mine. Like I said, we're buying in more tertiary rural markets. It probably wouldn't make sense unless we owned a number of facilities in a specific area that could get rolled up to them. They're going to look for larger facilities more in the secondary and primary markets. They're slowly making their way to tertiary markets, but they're never going to be in towns of, 5,000-10,000 people for the most part. It just doesn't make sense for their model. So probably not, but that is a good exit strategy that I know a lot of people have, is that they buy a number of small to mid-sized facilities all within, 30, 40 miles of each other, with the goal of rolling that up to an institution. Extra Space Public Storage, Keep Smart, one of them.
So are you in like the Gary, Indianas of self-storage world?
What's the Gary, Indianas?
Like,
It's the hood.
like, yeah, like the ghettos.
Maybe the redneck hood. I'm in the South.
Okay.
But no, I mean, we focus on areas that have a median income of at least, 60, 65,000, because we don't want to deal with the liens and the auctions. I don't like auctioning people's stuff off. So, a lot of our median incomes are 90K plus in the areas that we're in, but they're just smaller towns. A lot of them are oil and gas towns, or there's some industry there that allows people to make a higher wage. And like I said, about 2% of our customers end up going to auction. So it's a relatively small amount.
All right. So not like Gary at all. If you're making 90K in an area like that, you're rich.
I may have missed this one, but this is a Flavio. Thanks, Flavio. He said, "I'm a new fan of you guys." So yeah, if you haven't, Flavio, I'll put Curtis's channel again in the chat, so go subscribe to his YouTube channel. And then Kevin is primarily on X. I'm not sure if you're on X, but go check him out. Storage_venture. So
Is X like the storage place to be? Because I see a lot of guys that do storage on X.
Yeah, I just like the real estate Twitter, or real estate X, whatever you want to call it. I just think there's a lot of good knowledge and people on that. That's really all I use it for. I don't have any other social media, so I just hang out on X and just kind of take in what I can from other people who have done what I've done at a higher level. But there's a good amount of storage people on there for sure.
That's what I try to tell people. To me, X has tons of great information, especially like finance, real estate. But of course, you do got to filter out a lot of the nonsense. But to me, as far as information goes, I mean, yeah, there's amazing content out there.
Yeah, and I think it's just because of the way the platform is. Like on Instagram, you can't really fit that much on. Or I mean, I guess you could if you had like the slide things, But on X, you can lay out what your point is so well just because of the layout.
And I've met a lot of people. I've gone from X to like a Zoom conversation with people, like real life, right? And so that's been pretty cool. I feel like there's a lot of willingness of people to like, hey, you're doing what I'm doing, or I've got questions, like let's just have a phone call or whatever it is, right? So I've used it as kind of an intermediary platform to actually get to know people on a real life basis. And then I've also, I've helped people. I've kind of accidentally started this self-storage coaching thing where I've just been coaching people on how to get into self-storage and how to, or maybe people that have one or two facilities, how to scale, and all that's come from X. So it's been kind of cool.
Nice. We got a guru.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I don't have any courses.
What? That's the best kind of guru that doesn't have a course.
Yeah, it's been fun. I mean, I've done it more just because it's been fulfilling for me, but I tried to do it without buy-in, without any kind of monetary exchange, just to help. And I got burned by not that I got burned, but I just had people just like stop in the middle of it and like not talk to me again. Obviously, they chose not to invest in self-storage, but I put a lot of time and effort into them. I'm like, oh, that's a bummer, right? So I made it now to where it's like there is some sort of monetary exchange for commitment purposes. But I'm not doing the courses or anything like that, or taking I'm not trying to make it a business. It's just kind of a fun thing where, hey, if I can help, 4, 5, 6 people at a time, it's been good.
Firefighters get discounts.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's see. Did I miss any comments? Good questions here. Let's see. Yeah, nothing right now.
So back in 2008, did you already have So you said you already had like the rentals, right?
Well, that's when we started. So I was in college at the time, and I was in Tucson, University of Arizona, and so that area got hit pretty hard. So me and a buddy bought houses. All of them were foreclosed on or pre-foreclosure, or owners trying to just get out of them. And so at 19 years old, we just started buying houses in the specific neighborhood and renting them to our friends who were in college.
Nice.
So that's how we got our start.
And then at what point was it, okay, let's move from these houses to the storage?
15 years later.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2023, we bought our first self-storage facility. And then we started buying single families in 2008. So yeah, I mean, the single families were great. And we started a property management company off the back of that. We started a construction company. We brought in investors, and it was great. It was just turned into a lot of work, and that became a full-time job pretty quick.
So Dion from Dion Talk Financial Freedom says, does self-storage have seasonality?
Yeah. We're just coming into the good part of that season, which is like April to, depending on where you are, August, September. That's the high season. So you get a lot of move-ins. Occupancy is usually at its highest during that time. And then slow season is the winter months, especially if you're in an area with snow. Like our North Dakota facilities, good luck getting someone to try and move in there in the middle of January. Flip side is good luck trying to get someone to move out too. So it just kind of stays where it is for those winter months.
So do you try to have your leases end in the winter too?
They're all month to month, which is why I love storage, right? Because I can raise your rent every month if I wanted to. We don't, obviously, but yes, we especially in the north, we try and time our rental increases between November and February.
Oh, so yeah, so Dion is in the Washington area, and he is one of those that likes his leases to end in the winter, right? Or renew, or because he feels like, like kind of like you're saying, right? It's tenants don't want to move at that time, and it's easier to keep them in place. So, Dion definitely does things backwards, as he would say. And I think he has was it on Bigger Pockets? He might have did an episode of how, or of 5 or 10 things that he does backwards in a sense. And it gets you thinking and seeing things from a different perspective, and how some people look at investing in real estate. And yeah, so we always call it the Dionism. So he has kind of this different blueprint for what he does. But so every time I talk to you, man, I get more and more interested in self-storage. But I think it's definitely like Curtis was saying, and even like your path, right? We start on the single family homes, we get good at that, we build this foundation, and then after, if you want to try something different, whether it be short-term rentals or self-storage, or fix and flips, but just like Curtis is saying, get good at something first, right? Build that foundation that you can build off of. And that kind of sounds exactly like what you did, Kevin.
Right? And I mean, I wish I would have known. I would have made a lot more money had I known about self-storage and just started in self-storage. at that time. So I don't think there's anything to say you can't just start brand new in self-storage. I know a lot of people that have done really well that didn't have any real estate background and started in self-storage. But if you're already having momentum and success and that flywheel's turning in a different asset class, you may as well see that through. And then if you decide, hey, this asset class isn't for me, or the returns are what I thought they were, then obviously make that switch to a different asset class. But plenty of ways to make money. Self-storage isn't the way; it's just a way. But it's been super beneficial for me and my family. We've it's been good.
Yeah, just like Dylan, who's tuning in. So, morning, Dylan. He'll be on live tomorrow with me and Matt from Mojo Mindset. And Dylan, he's getting in investing, or he's in the multifamily space right off the bat. No single family homes, multifamily. Matt, Mojo Mindset is more in that single family space, and tomorrow's going to be just a fun kind of the single family versus multifamily debate on what is the better asset class. And like you're saying, there's no real better. It's just one might fit your style better, but like you're saying, get good at it first, or figure out if it's for you. And that's why like Dylan, like I said, he's doing some cool stuff. Young guy, but straight into it, multifamily, right? So let's see.
Yeah, that's the thing about like investing is like if you go to Costco, you can go sample stuff for free, no biggie. Whereas with investing, it takes a little bit of time to figure out what you actually like and what you're good at, and you can't just bounce around.
Yeah,
See,
and I think a good way to kind of pseudo bounce around is if you have some extra capital, is just getting involved in other people's deals, and just seeing how they do things, right? Just investing as a limited partner in a self-storage syndication, or in a multifamily syndication, or just to get some exposure. And it's like, hey, if the sponsor, hey, I'll invest, but I want to talk about what you're doing so I learn throughout this process as well. And we've had success with that.
So see, I was waiting for Jovi to say something, but he said, I need to figure out how to monetize making fun of Mark and other firefighters. Yeah. Dylan says, I can think of quite a few reasons why single family could be better, but I have to get higher returns because I have partners. Yeah. So save that for tomorrow, man. Don't be telling me your strategy for tomorrow. But
I think and my input, I won't be here tomorrow, but I think single family is great. Like it's very easy to manage and run, 3, 4, 5 houses. Then you start getting above that and it starts just getting to be a lot of work, and the returns don't make as much sense until you get to 70, 80, 90, 100 homes. And then it starts making sense again. So I think single family has this big middle ground, and we landed in that middle ground of like, okay, we've got these, 20, 30, 40 houses, and it's just the returns weren't generating the work that was being put into it. But we didn't quite have the scale to allow us to make that work easier and hire the right people. And so I think you can get to that scale a lot quicker in multifamily. I think that's the big benefit. But if the goal is, hey, I just want to have, 3, 4, 5 rentals, I want to self-manage, slowly pay them off, like I think single family is a great way to go. I just think the fear is that you get stuck, because I was there in that middle ground between that and scale.
Yeah. You know what, Curtis? We did have a good from yesterday's live. Jen was talking about insurance. And I remember on the live that you were on recently, you were talking about that seller that you met up with and, had a conversation with. You did the slow dance to the bedroom, like you said. But you were talking that investor or that seller doesn't have insurance, right?
No,
Yeah.
none. He took them all off a few years ago. And when he told me that, I was like shocked. And he was like, well, what's really the thing? I got these 30 paid off properties. If one burns down to the ground, now I have 29. What's the big deal for him, And so I thought that was very different.
Sorry, hold on. I was gonna.
As long as you don't need your, obviously if you're in a high risk area, that's tough, right? If you're in, Tornado Alley or where hurricanes are, right? But if you're in relatively safe areas, and you don't need insurance to satisfy a loan, then yeah, all you really need is personal liability insurance, and you self-insure, and we've done that sometimes too. So it can be a way to go.
Yeah, he had got upset at the insurance place a few years ago because he had a roof that was fine. It just was this weird type of roof, but it worked, right? And they wanted him to change it on like 3 properties. He's like, well, that'd be like $100,000 because it was like a family thing. So he's like, it'd be $100,000. So he just dropped them.
Yeah,
and he dropped all of his properties from them. I thought that was kind of a baller move.
Yeah. Yeah.
But for where his properties are at, there's not really a whole lot of like natural disasters. There's some that might get a flood like every 30 years or something like
Right.
that.
Yeah, it depends on the area and your risk tolerance, but yeah, I know people that have done that too, for large portfolios too, which is. But again, if you can go, you just got to map it out. If you can get 2, 3, 4 years, and that equals the loss of one building, because you're not paying that premium for that long, you just got to get through that time period, and then you're covered. But yeah, it's interesting. I was seeing Steven's comment too. Can you 1031 single family homes? Yeah, you can. As long as they're investment properties, right? You couldn't 1031 your primary residence, but if it's an investment property, you can 1031 it into any like investment real estate property.
Yeah, and Flavio says, in my area, self-storage is a fever right now. A lot of new ones.
It's the biggest threat to self-storage is self-storage. So that's part of the reason I'm selling the one in North Carolina. Is we had the supply demand was like right there. We were slowly, increasing rates, everybody in the area. And then all of a sudden a brand new facility comes in, big, large facility.
Oh yeah, was that the one like right across the street?
Right across the street. Like you drive out of mine, you can drive right into theirs, right through their gate. And the demand just didn't support it. Now I think that area will eventually support that demand of the square footage that they built, but it doesn't right now. And so now it's kind of a race to the bottom of who can drop their rates, who can run the best promotions, things like that. So if that tilt supply and demand not in your favor, then you can be doing everything right and not be able to increase revenue.
Yeah, it almost seems like Airbnb at that point where it's like how many rooms are in an area or how many Airbnbs are in an area, and if it comes over saturated, then kind of that race down or the promos and.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and if you look at the nationwide average, it's interesting. It's right about. It's gone up. It started at 7. I think it's now 9 square feet of storage per person is the nationwide average. So if you're in a market that has over 9 square feet of storage per person, in theory, you're oversaturated. Now, there's a lot of things that change that, right? If there's a military base or a college or whatnot, but that's kind of just a quick number to go off of if anyone's looking at self-storage.
Yeah, where I'm at, there's all sorts of stuff. So you can go down a street and pass multiple self-storages within like 5-10 minutes. You're like, oh, there's one.
Yep.
Oh, there's some indoor ones. There's some outdoor ones. But our town is a little bit larger than 5,000 people.
Yeah, and just another way to assess it, like if you are interested, is just call those facilities, pretend like you want to rent a unit, and see if they're full. If everyone's full, well, then the demand is there, right? But if everyone's got vacancies and everyone's running promotions, then I would hesitate on buying or building in that market.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Joe V says a subset of self-storage I have been interested in is a boat RV storage. Any specific wisdom for that area?
Yeah, I think boat RV storage is great, and you can get into it very inexpensively. Essentially, it's just a covered land play. Like if you're building, right, you just own the land, and now you're just going to put up. There's different boat and RV storage, right? There's There's uncovered. Hey, just park your RV. I've got land. Park your RV. Make parking spaces. There's covered. There's 3-sided covers, right? And then there's fully enclosed. And so obviously the price point per month for a rental is increased with each of those. It's obviously going to be cheaper for uncovered and higher for fully enclosed. So you have to determine what your market needs. Does our market need uncovered, or does it need covered, or does it need fully enclosed? What are people willing to pay? And then you can run your numbers on if it makes sense. But if you own land, I mean, it's a great way to utilize that land as income generating. The value on those isn't quite as high as something that would have a permanent structure like self-storage, because it's still just land. But if you build fully enclosed, that's valued very similar to self-storage. So there's some ins and outs of it, but yeah, happy to answer more questions on that if you have questions.
Yeah, so I put Kevin's X handle in the chat and Curtis's YouTube channel. Kevin, I know you only had a limited amount of time, so if you have to bounce, just bounce whenever.
Cool.
But
Yeah,
you're
no,
welcome
10.
to stay. Yeah. So quickly, then I know. So Joe, he is I don't know if struggling is the right way to put it, but getting his wife on board in investing is probably his biggest roadblock right now. So you going from maybe single family homes to more self-storage, was it ever a challenge to get your wife on board, or does she prefer one or the other, you think?
Well, I started in college, so I wasn't married at the time. So I came into the relationship already having kind of this investment background. So it was just kind of part of who I was and what I did. And so it wasn't something new that I was starting with her. So it was a little different situation for me.
Wait, did she marry you because you're an investor or a firefighter?
She married me before I was a firefighter.
Oh,
Yeah, before I was a firefighter. But yeah, so I think my question to Joe would just be, what is why the hesitation on your wife's side? Like, what is she worried about? And then trying to figure out how to, address those concerns in a way that, puts yourself in her shoes. But obviously investing is scary for sure, for anybody. And so, especially someone that doesn't have a background in it, or someone that's relying upon someone else for the finances of the household, I could see why that would be a hesitation on her end.
but as far as like asset class, so does she prefer single or single family homes, or does she like the self-storage side, you think, or doesn't even matter? Like
She doesn't.
He just cares about the cash flow.
She doesn't matter. She doesn't care. No, she stays home with her kids, and her job's tougher than my job. So, as long as she kind of it's kind of my realm.
She must be listening. She must be standing by you.
I share wins and losses, of course, with her, but I'm the one doing that stuff, and she's doing the more important stuff with the kids and everything else.
I'll just say hi because I know she must be standing close by you.
Right behind the camera.
Nope, she's with her two little kids in the other room.
All right. Yeah. Hey, Curtis. So, that guy Kent, the video that you put out.
Mhm.
I mean, how did that all come together too? I know, was he in the kind of following you guys for a while or picking your guys' brain for a while?
Yeah, so he goes to Tacoma F.I.R.E. He's probably been going for at least a year now, and so he actually had reached out to Dion and Mike, and then they told him about Tacoma F.I.R.E. And then he's just been kind of picking brains, asking questions, and then I actually saw the property that he ended up buying back in October. It is the deal, what I needed the deal to look like. It couldn't look like for the owner, so I just moved on. And then I was really glad that when he got it, that was awesome. And he was texting me throughout. He was like, "Okay, the inspection is on this day. What should I be looking for?" Or like he even used the same agent and loan officer that I've used and stuff. So I was just trying to give him as much resources as possible.
So is he excited? I mean, like, what is he like? Was there a lot of work he had to do on the property?
More than expecting, because 2 days before closing, uh, one of the tenants left, bailed, and so he had to hurry up and get that unit turned, because he was expecting that rent to help pay for part of the mortgage. But he's been hustling, and I guess he has a family member that's also an investor kind of in that area, and so they've been helping him to, like, okay, that this is how you turn it fast, because it is a little far for me or Ray to kind of go over there and just get a little quick tip. But his family's been helping him, and he's already found a person. I think it took him 3 days to find a tenant, so it was pretty quick.
Nice. So yeah, if anyone wants to hear the full story, and I gotta go check out the story on Curtis's YouTube channel. Probably a great video because he got to use all Ray's gadgets and
Yeah.
video things, and but yeah, Ray's doing a lot of cool stuff too. So I think Ray is getting more comfortable. Like Ray, we were talking yesterday. Ray kind of felt that imposter, kind of like, do I have anything to share, or can I actually help people? And I think he's definitely coming out of that and realizing that there's people trying to get started, people, ahead, below, but just, putting yourself out there and sharing your journey is just helpful to a lot of people.
Yeah, I think the more that we can like bully him into doing stuff, the better.
Wait, why are you saying bully him? But he did have a great time in Vegas. So,
Yes.
so Kevin, next year you got to come to the ORAD event. We got to get you.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun this past year. So, that's like, that's pretty close to you, man.
I know it's easy enough.
But you had pneumonia. Jesus.
I know. Crazy, man.
We'll get you out there, man. You'll be retired by then, I think.
I hope. We'll see.
Yeah. Dylan says, I've just been doing it all with my finances, and as my fiance has seen how we're doing with multi, she's wanting to get more involved. I think if you can prove concept to your wife, she may want to join. Yeah. So Joe, I think that was kind of for you, but I think anyone out there listening that maybe has a spouse that's not on board, that's, you got to kind of show them the proof of concept, I think.
I didn't know he was engaged. Good for him.
Yes. So actually, he's going to be in Tennessee. Well, not too close to where I'm going to be in next week, but so I know he said his fiance made all the plans already. So I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to meet up with him, but he'll be somewhat in the area. I think Hunter's going to try and come up from South Carolina also while I'm there. So we'll see. And I think even Andy, who's in Ohio, might be going down to South Carolina in a few weeks. So he might come through North Carolina. So I might meet up with him also. So we'll see how many people I can meet up with.
How long are you there?
I will leave Monday night or head out Monday night, and I'll be there till April 7th. I fly. Oh, yeah, April 7th. I'll fly back out or come back to Hawaii.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. I think I'll be there April 11th.
Yeah, I can't say that. My MRI is on April 9th. That's why. So
Okay. Nice.
yeah. Dion has a question for you, Kevin. He says, what is the exit strategy from self-storage?
Sell it. There's multiple, right? For us, it's more of a buy and hold, right? We like the cash flow. So we buy these, we hold on to it. And then, like I said, we have one under contract. We're still going to be opportunistic. If we get a great offer, it makes sense to sell, we will. But for the most part, we're looking at these as buy and hold. There's different exit strategies. One is just sell it to another investor, right? There's people that don't want a value add facility and put all the work in that we did. They just want a stabilized facility. And if that's the case, you're just selling it at a cap rate. In a tertiary market, it might be 7 to 8 as far as a cap rate on a sales price. In a primary, secondary market, it might be 5 to 6. And so you sell to another investor that wants a stabilized asset, or you try and acquire enough square footage in a localized area where you can roll that up to an institution, whether it be a regional player or a larger institution like Public Storage or Extra Space, right? And usually your cap rate will get compressed when you do that because you're providing value to them, so they're willing to pay more because they have a larger footprint in a smaller area. So just depends on what you're trying to do. For us, we just like buying these things, holding on to them, slowly paying them off, and just using that cash flow.
Dylan says if you have a few that you can put under the same systems, you could sell it as a roll up.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
for
So
us-
it most of the time you're gonna want, if you're gonna try and roll it up to someone more at the institution level, you're gonna want at least somewhere 100 150,000 square feet plus. For us, we're buying facilities that are somewhere between 15,000 and 65,000 is our largest. So we would need multiple facilities in a localized area in order for an institution to look at us and say, yes, we'd want to buy that, because they want the economies of scale. So they need that higher square footage. But that's definitely an option. I know people have done very well doing that.
So when you roll it up, do you get more than just selling them off individually?
Typically, yeah. Typically, when you sell a portfolio, assuming economies of scale and they're not scattered, but what it does is it basically decreases your expense ratio because they're close, right? So you can kind of have these economies of scale. So because of that, you can usually sell, your NOI is higher, and you can usually sell for a higher price. And also, people are willing to pay a little more for a localized portfolio than they would be just for a single one-off facility, because it generates more money and has less expense ratio than just this one-off facility.
Mm-hmm.
Every time I talk to you, and it seems like a lot of your deals, is it common? Like a lot of it is like seller finance type of deals, like a lot of people trying to exit, or they're older and they're just trying to exit out, and that's where a lot of your deals come from.
I'd say 50-50. Half our deals have been listed and half our deals, like literally half, have been owner occupied, or excuse me, just like mom and pop owned. And of those mom and pop owned, half have been seller financed, and of the listed properties, the majority of them were seller financed.
And just like
And,
a lot
and
of
that's
people,
just the way the market is what it is. Like, it just doesn't make sense to go get a loan at 7 to 7.5%. It just kind of destroys your numbers. So all of our seller financing is under 5% interest. But because of that, I was able to, meet their terms as far as purchase price, or, it's a give or take. You can either have price and I take the terms, or you can have the terms, but I get the price. Like, pick which one's more important to you, and then let's make a win-win.
and it seems like a lot of times, like everyone's looking for purchasing existing businesses or small businesses, right? It's a lot of mom and pops that don't have the technology or haven't improved the systems, and kind of sounds like that's how the self-storage also is for you. You're getting these properties, and then now you're implementing newer technology and things like that. So what are some features that a lot of times you're adding onto these facilities that you're purchasing?
Most facilities that we buy, they don't have a website. So that's number one, right? Get a website. You can't move in or rent online, or pay online because there wasn't a website. So get a website. You can move in online. You can move out online. You can pay online. You can now pay with credit cards. A lot of them, mom and pop, they only accept cash or check. We eliminate all cash and check. I don't want to get checks in the mail. So everything's on credit cards, auto pay. And so we just make the ease of renting and paying for a unit, it's just a lot easier than it was. And then we do simple things like we answer the phone. Like, I have a call center, and all they do is answer the phone, and they answer the phone within 2 to 3 rings. Whereas the mom and pop, it was going to their voicemail. So someone wants to rent a unit, and they call and doesn't get answered. Well, then they just call the self-storage facility a mile away, and they rent a unit there. So you have to answer your phone. A lot of them didn't have good signage. We put up good signage. A lot of them didn't have lights, or they were ugly. So we paint them. We put up lights. If it makes sense, we put up a gate with a keypad. Everyone has their own PIN number. If they're late on their payment, we turn off their PIN number so they can't get in. And then they call us asking why their PIN number doesn't work. And we say, well, sir, you haven't paid. Would you like to pay with a credit card over the phone? Yes. Our call center takes the payment, and then their PIN works. So it's just little things that allow us to streamline operations, but also ease of use for our customers.
What about like security? Do you guys install like cameras and things like that, or?
Most of our facilities have cameras. I don't look at them much unless there's an issue. But yeah, they have cameras. Some facilities have gates. Some don't. Again, we focus on buying in areas that are low crime, high median income. So we try and take the risk out of it when we buy our deal by focusing on those areas.
Wasn't there one you posted on X that I don't know if there was some shady or you had a photo of a vehicle or something?
Oh
Was
yeah,
that
just
you?
recently. Yeah, I had a guy who rented a unit, brought his trailer there full of stuff, loaded it up into the unit. His everything didn't fit in his unit, so instead of renting another unit, he just unhitched his trailer and just left his trailer right in the middle of the drive aisle with all this stuff on it. So I was like, what the heck, man? And customers couldn't get by. Like, I mean, it was kind of a nightmare. And again, that's like our biggest emergency, right? It took me 4 days to figure it out, and I didn't really care much, but I just
Must have been a police officer just parking in front of the scene,
probably,
right? Getting
yeah,
in front of the incident.
just no regard to anybody else. So anyway, I just had, I go meet all the neighbors at the facilities. I had a neighbor walk over there, post a notice on it, and basically tell them, hey, I'm gonna impound your trailer if you don't move it, and they moved it.
Yeah, so Dylan says, I noticed with small businesses, they're pretty bad at marketing too, or that's my background. So we'll fill vacancies a lot faster and at higher rates. Yeah.
Yeah, most mom and pops we buy for, that's another key thing, right? They're not marketing. So we'd start posting on Facebook. We get the Google My Business profile up. We run Google ads if we need it. We focus on SEO and organic. So we try and be at the top of the list when someone Googles self-storage in this town. I want to be the first one.
Do you guys, or if you guys are still here in the chat, do you guys think self-storage would be a interesting speaker or someone on self-storage at the next ORAD event? You think? Because Zuber doesn't really have anyone that comes on and talks about self-storage. Yeah. I don't know. Like I said, every time I talk to you, it piques my interest more and more. And like I said, Lauren's pivoting to self-storage, and
I don't think it has to be one or the other, right? Like there's plenty of people like me, right? I own single family, multifamily, self-storage. We have a hard money lending business. Like you can be involved in different things. But what I love about it is the simplicity of it. Like there's no longer an emergency. Like our biggest emergency is that someone parked a trailer and left it. And it took me 4 days to get it moved, and I didn't lose sleep over it. I just didn't care. Customer called and said there was a trailer and they couldn't get to their unit. Sorry, we're working on getting it moved. Like not a big deal. And I like the fact that it's lien laws as opposed to tenant laws. I don't have to go to court to evict someone. I don't have to kick someone out of their home. Like I just lock your unit, and if you don't pay me, I do a quick auction and move on. So simple.
yeah, sounds like we have a couple. Yes, that would be great speakers coming in. So that'll be cool if can figure something out. I forget that guy from school. Did he reach out to you? I think I gave you his information, or I don't remember either. And
Who was
I told
it?
him, shoot, I don't remember his name, but he was asking about self-storage. I said, oh, I know these two firefighters, you and Mike Webb, and I sent them your way. And I don't know if he ever
I
reached
had
out.
someone reach out to me, and I went back and forth with them over email. It might have been him.
Yeah. I know I connected you through email, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Let's see. Chester, Wealth Building Journey, says, how can you tell whether a small self-storage operator is a motivated seller?
I think they give you the same signal that a mom and pop owner of a home, like someone who has a investment house or multifamily would give, right? It's the same kind of signals. They're willing to share financials, right? If you're unwilling to share financials, like I'm not going to spin my wheels on you. You're probably not a motivated seller. So that's a big kind of signal right there. Just that they're willing to talk to you, that they share information openly. They answer the phone when you call. Those are all signals. And then eventually, you're going to put an LOI in front of them, and if they agree to it, then you're off to the races as far as figuring out a contract that works.
Flavio says, "Do you have insurance in case someone breaks into a client's unit?"
We require it's in our lease that our customers have to have insurance. And so if someone breaks into their unit, we just point back to the lease and say, well, you have to have insurance, whether they do or not. We also partner with an insurance company. And so we charge, if they don't have insurance, which most of them don't, we charge $12 a month for insurance. We keep 9 of it as profit, and we give the insurance company $3. And we do that for 80% of our units are on our insurance with that partnership. So it's an extra $9 a month for us. And then if they don't want to pay that $12 a month, they just have to show that they have proof of insurance. And they just do that by uploading their declarations page of their insurance that it covers self-storage.
So what do you look for in a deal where you're like, ooh, actually that's a bad deal? Like for houses, for example, right? Bad foundation or something like that. What's the bad foundation of self-storage?
Yeah, for the physical side of it, I mean, there's not much, right? Just steel buildings, and so they're on concrete pads. So yeah, you want to make sure. I mean, a big issue is drainage, right? Especially in an area where it gets a lot of water. Is where's the water draining? You obviously don't want the water draining into the unit. You want it draining away from the unit. So that could kill a deal. But then other than that, it's just steel walls and doors. So if a lot of the doors are broken, you're gonna factor in what it's gonna cost you to replace those doors. It's about $1,000 a door. And then if it needs paint. But as far as the walls are concerned, it's very easy to tell and look are the walls damaged, yes or no. What sometimes they'll do is they'll do like plywood or OSB interior walls or even drywall. That's a no-go, right? Because for a number of reasons, water obviously goes through wood and soaks that wood and can cause mold and rot. But you can also cut through units a lot easier. So someone rents a unit and it's drywall, they just punch through, go to the guy's unit next door, take his stuff, go to the unit next door. Ask me how I know that. So you want metal walls, interior walls as well. So. But it's pretty easy. You don't, there's nothing behind the walls like there is in single family. So it's not like, oh, I wonder if the plumbing's bad or what's the electrical, right? Everything's right there. You can tell by looking at it. So it makes it a little easier.
Chester says, "Have you ever extended out the lot size on a self-storage unit?"
What do you mean by that? Maybe have I? Is there like we do own self-storage, and there's additional land that we'll buy or will come with the property that will allow us to expand as needed. So if that's the question, yeah, I think extra land attached to your facility is great because one, you do the covered land play and you charge for parking. We do that, RV parking, outdoor parking. It costs nothing for me. But it's an income generator, or we actually put physical buildings on it and build out a larger facility over time.
I guess he meant added more units.
Yeah. So, yep. And I think that's a huge moneymaker, right? Because we can be all in for about $25 to $30 a foot building, and depending on our market, we can rent that out. For $1 a foot or whatever it works out to be. So then when you take that on an exit cap rate, there's a lot of money in expansion.
I think like for single family homes or rental, a lot of times, when you have a tenant turnover, that's a lot of your big expenses, right? What is the cost for like if someone moves out or doesn't renew? I mean, like I said, you can auction off their things, right? But you might collect some money from that too, right? Like how much does it cost in between like a new client, I guess, or new?
Yeah, we hire. So each facility has a boots on the ground, just a 1099 contractor, and that's part of their duties. Is they live local, and when someone moves out, they go to that unit, they sweep out the unit, they spray it for bug spray with bug spray if needed. They lube the springs on the door, and they just make it rent ready. And so if people leave stuff in there, what we do is we keep one unit to ourselves, and if it's trash, we throw it away. But if they left like a table, right, we'll just go take that and put it in our unit, and we'll just slowly fill up our unit with trash, and then we'll auction it off. Maybe it takes 3 months to fill it up, and then we just auction it off. Someone will buy it for $10, and no harm, no foul. So that way we're not constantly doing like dump runs. We just fill up a unit, and it usually will auction off. Worst case, you've got a unit full of stuff that doesn't auction, and you just have to pay to have that hauled to the dump. But our boots on the ground will do that, and we just pay them the dump fee.
Ike says, have you ever built a new facility? Somebody in my market purchased an old grocery store and converted into climate-controlled facility last fall. Helped that area a lot by fixing up a major eyesore.
Nice. I love that model. Converting old businesses to self-storage. So we did it in South Carolina. We converted an old furniture store into a climate-controlled facility. So it was like a 12,000 square foot building. We've got about 9,000 rentable square feet because you have to account obviously for walkways and things like that. So we've got about 9,000 square feet that we rent, and it was great. It generates about 8,000 in revenue each month. It's a cool little facility.
Well, I think you should just come to North Carolina earlier, man. Come like a week earlier, man.
I know. I'm actually going to a self-storage event, and so it's a group that I'm in, and so it's a bunch of self-storage investors. So we all meet out there, and we have speakers that come talk to us and stuff. So
I wonder, did you ever connect with Mike Webb?
Mike Webb?
Yeah, he's kind of he was on Bigger Pockets, but
maybe.
Yeah, but he's big in self-storage, but he's in Maryland. But
Okay.
he had a health scare, so I know he's trying to. But Curtis from Dion, when is your next house hack?
Yeah, so I hired an accountant this year for taxes, and so once they file, I'm gonna send it over to my loan guy because that's what he needs now. He's like, hey, now that you have multiple, I kind of need the tax return, and then I can tell you what we can offer. And so once that's done, then I'll kind of know what my price and everything is. Based on my savings, probably maybe like the summertime, maybe is when I can start the hunt again. In the meantime, I'm kind of just meeting with the owners and stuff and kind of just building the relationships. So when the time does come, then I have some options.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's so even like Mikey, who invests in Pittsburgh. He lives in Hawaii, but he has a few rentals now in Pittsburgh, and he said that definitely helped his tax returns. So now the lender, I think it bumped up how much he can qualify for from maybe I think it was like 175 to like 275 now. So now he has more buying power. But like he said, yeah, the power of real estate, right? So just getting in there and maybe you're not moving as fast as you think you are or other people are, but just those few rentals, right, definitely helps your profile to the lenders and having it on your tax return. So yeah, Mikey's doing some cool things. So he'll probably get his fourth one soon or this year. So by next ORAD event, he might have 4 or 5. So doing a lot of cool stuff.
And is he doing a single family there in Pittsburgh?
All the ones he has currently single family, but he is definitely looking at smaller multis right now, especially since his purchasing power went up. So he has a few he's looking at. And then after the ORAD event, seems like Lars and Harrison, Trade Better 99 are pivoting. They're looking in the Pittsburgh market also. And Lars did put in an offer for a quadplex, but somebody outbid him. So unfortunately, Lars didn't get that one. Let's see. Dylan says, if anyone is looking in Indy, I'm starting a property management next week after I get my license, and I'll be a broker too. Cool. Awesome, man.
Nice.
And so Dylan will be on the live tomorrow morning at, what did I say? I think 11 a.m. Eastern. He'll be on with Matt Mojo Mindset. We'll have like a little debate of single family homes versus multifamily homes. And whatever questions come through the chat, and that'll probably might be my last live for a few weeks since I'll be in North Carolina. So that's why I'm trying to just bang out as many as I can and get everyone on and whoever wants to connect and do stuff. So yeah. So yeah, Kev, I know you have to bounce.
I like that market too, the Indy market. Indy and Louisville, I'm invested in a single family home fund, and those are two markets they focus on, is buying single family homes in those two markets, and it's been good.
Chester, who got his first rental recently, but he says agreed, hoping to get a duplex soon.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. I start to look now, so I can kind of run like the numbers a little bit. Like, okay, if they said I could buy right now, what would that look like? And so it's kind of interesting, especially for the deals that have sat for a bit. I'm excited to make some offers.
And if anyone hasn't, there's Dylan's YouTube channel in the chat, so go please subscribe. Check out what he's doing. But Wealth Building Journey says Dylan, Indianapolis specifically, not outskirts like Muncie, Zionsville, or South Bend. So yeah, Dylan, hopefully you can connect with Chester. Yeah, anything else you guys want to wrap things up with before we sign off, or anything else you want to promote, what you're working on, need help with, get ready for the week?
Nothing for me. If anyone has more questions on self-storage, I'm always happy to talk about it. I enjoy the space, or just real estate in general.
Well, if you come on more often,
Yeah.
and I invite you on, then
Yeah, I know.
You know, all those questions.
But yeah, reach out to me on X, shoot me a DM, or we'll find a time to chat.
Yeah, and if you can't find him, message me, and I'll get you his information, and I'll connect you guys and whatnot. And yeah, Curtis, anything else? Yes.
Where's your fighter mustache, huh?
I'm trying to exit. So that was going to be my question. So Kevin, when you retire, are you going to keep that mustache? Oh, actually, wait, you grew it back.
It goes back. I keep it. I grow
no,
it.
because you shaved it off, and your son was like, "What did your son say?"
Yeah, I think he just told me to shave it. I was like, okay, so I shaved it, and then I went like a year without it. Now it's back. I don't know. I get bored.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. Oh. See, Joe is still here. He says he's a firefighter. He's too busy sleeping and eating to come on. See, so that's why so he's saying, Kevin, you can't come on because you're too busy eating and sleeping.
Yeah. Well, that's what all cops and firefighters have in common, is they both want to be firefighters.
All right. If you guys don't got anything else, we can wrap it up. This was a fun one. Like I said, kind of last minute, just goof around. Always good to get Kevin back on. Always glad Curtis can do this since he's teaching now, so only the weekends he's kind of available.
Yeah.
So good to get him. Yesterday he was playing football, coaching football.
Wow, yeah. Watch the phrase in there.
Yeah.
But like I said, if anyone didn't get to watch the whole live from yesterday with Ray and Jen, I highly recommend go listen to the entire thing. The last 30 minutes are pretty funny and wild. So go check it out. But yeah, everyone, thanks for tuning in. I'll see you folks tomorrow.
Nice to meet you, Curtis.
Dylan. And have a great